You are right in saying that a piece of information which is incorrect or hidden can be like a bullet. That was a powerful comment. I also want to now speak a bit about what's happening to journalists, and if you can tell us a bit about that, because we don't really see much of that being focused on to the journalists who are not in Gaza, Palestinian journalists who are in the West Bank. We everyone saw what happened to Shireen Abu Akleh, long before October 7th. She was targeted while reporting on Jenin. So, if you can tell us about how, in the midst of all of what's going on, how the journalists in the West Bank or in Jerusalem being targeted, or how are they carrying on with their work?
I have to say that our colleague and my really best friend, Shireen, was not the only really journalist actually targeted. We have more others, but we could do a legal file with Shireen because things were very clear, and we had a video, not only testimonies, so she could represent what happened with so many others in Palestine as journalists, because this is not new what's happening in Gaza, it's just more brutal. But it's been going on as a systematic strategy for Israel as a system, as a whole system, since the occupation. I've been a journalist since 30 years. I'm from Jerusalem, and I travel all over the West Bank. And I think, and I'm sure that each one of our colleagues really has a personal story, even more than one, of attacks, either by soldiers or by settlers. Since the 7th of October, there was total closure in the West Bank. Like, we have nearly 500 military checkpoints beside the wall, the cement wall, they were all closed. So moving around the Palestinian cities was impossible. And anyways, our colleagues in the West Bank cannot reach either Gaza or Jerusalem. This is also another thing. So there was, first of all, the siege. Second, the treatment of soldiers for Palestinian journalists when they reached the checkpoints. We reported 360 attacks and mistreatment for journalist crews on the checkpoints since the 7th of October, and this is a lot. Second, whenever we go to cover, we have weekly demonstrations, and you know, there's usually the prayer in Al-Aqsa each Friday, and Israel forbid Palestinians to reach, and even they attack journalists. We've been attacked every Friday, and they come to us, yani special forces, police, army. We have names by our colleagues who were really badly beaten. We have names of our colleagues who were shot directly by snipers while only gathering on a hill, or even to be gathered, being gathered in a demonstration. We are together usually with our crew, TV kit, everything, and away from demonstrators. And though they target us by tear gas, by bullets, we have nearly 54 colleagues arrested since the 7th of October in West Bank. They invaded their homes, they treat them very badly, insulted them, and we don't know anything about them. And there's they did not even say why they took them, but it was frank that because what they wrote and delivered about Gaza story. We have demolishing equipment. We have more than 60 attacks on journalists from Israeli military settlements. Those are armed settlers. They move around the West Bank, and they can anytime shoot you or hit you or insult you. And usually the Israeli soldiers do not stand with Palestinians, either journalists or other. I reported myself only nearly 10 journalists who were threatened by soldiers and forces, either while trying to, only 2 days ago, we have attacks on Al Jazeera and Al Arabi channel and Al Ghad channel near the border of Gaza in Asqalan. They attacked them. And in Jerusalem also, they threatened so many colleagues to even hit them or shoot them if they see them again. So it's a very terrifying situation in the West Bank. It's escalating, and it's okay. It's not the same as Gaza, but I tell you, even in Jenin, our colleagues they even got shot several times. The soldiers shot on the hotel they are in, and it's known that it's only place for journalists. It's the same as Israel bombed nearly 73 offices, media offices in Gaza. So this is also a very hard situation in the West Bank. And there's nearly 150 journalists who really got even beaten or arrested or shot at in a very short time.
Are
Uh,
there any journalists in the West Bank at the moment who are in detention, administrative detention, or imprisoned or behind bars in any way, or who
yes,
have
yes,
cases
yes.
against them?
We have nearly 34 still in prison.
Wow. These are
Uh,
horrifying statistics. I mean, of course, you're right that with Shireen's story, it was so glaring and in the public eye, so it became an emblematic case. But the statistics that that you're sharing with us and the picture that you're painting of the treatment of journalists in the West Bank is quite horrifying. And of course, none of that makes it to news media. It's only documented in human rights reports, which are put out by the end of the year or in quarterly sort of reports. And no one is going to read these reports. It's just that now we're all talking about this. And, as journalists from Pakistan, we extend our solidarity to you. I just will let you go. You have another interview. Thanks for speaking with us. But can you share one last message? Because as a syndicate, you've been putting out statements to the global journalist bodies. What is your last message, and then we'll say goodbye.
I want to thank you first, because you wouldn't imagine how important it is to deliver what's going on with our colleagues and with us on ground, especially Gaza and also West Bank. So it's highly appreciated, and it gives us hope that really we are a community of journalists all over the world, and our target and our vision is clear to what means of freedom of journalism or human rights. So I thank you for this. And my message is stop. Israel has to stop killing journalists, and journalists have the right to deliver the story. And they are living very hard circumstances, and this has to be stopped, and they have to be protected. And I really call for international community to have a say in this, and to really think that this journalist can be a friend or a son or a daughter or a colleague, and think really the situation they are working in. We do not really ask for something big. We call for their rights. We call for their rights. Killing really has to stop. And another thing, I wish we will be able and we will succeed, though I know the political pressure on ICC court, but we are working on files, files to go to the court, to the international court, ICC, because really Israel, whether it was he was a soldier who bombed a place or a family or a journalist, or shot at a journalist, or even took the decision, has to be punished.